Hello everyone, I'm Captain Logan and I have given Eric a license to review You Only Live Twice.
Yeah.
That's what Eric is reviewing today. And I am here to introduce Eric as he talked about this movie because I did not have a chance to watch this.
So this one will be rather short. This is You Only Live Twice, which originally I thought this is one that you should watch. One, because it's written by Roald Dahl.
Yeah.
Roald Dahl. It's written by him, and also it's the introduction of Blofeld physically. This is the Dr. No Blofeld.
I've definitely seen pieces of that.
And then I rewatched it, and I was like, oh yeah, this is my least favorite of the original Connery run. And this is the movie that Austin Powers is doing. This is when we've gotten so ostentatious, and, like, it's not... Like, I wouldn't say it's a parody of itself, but, like... It wasn't hard to make Austin Powers out of this material. Like, they picked things from the previous movies. This is the movie they're parodying. Mm-hmm. It's the sets. Like, this is the one with the volcano lair. And it's just... Like, Sean Connery doesn't really want to be there. He's not exactly phoning it in, but, like, he doesn't want to be there. And...
Is he acting like he kind of knows that he's in subpart material?
Yeah.
Does it feel kind of like too much of a cartoon?
Yes. And then also, I don't know why, this is the first film, from my understanding, he is bald through all of these. He's wearing a wig the whole time. That's what I've been told.
Interesting.
This is the first time it's clearly a toupee. That made it feel cheaper, where I'm like, well, that's clearly not his hair.
Yeah.
It's everything from Thunderball turned up to 11, and it just doesn't work. It's rather boring. Like, I wanted you to watch this so you got to see I was gonna say Dr. Evil. So you could see Blofeld, and then I was like, oh, that's right, because this is one of the last ones not last ones I see, but it's the last Connery film I see. When I finally see this and I get to see the reveal of Blofeld, I was like, oh, that's it? That's what Blofeld's like? It's a real non-performance, which is unfortunate because it's Donald Pleasance. I like Donald Pleasance in Halloween, and he's in a couple of John Carpenter films. That's mostly what I know him from. Blofeld has no presence. We have spent 4, because he's not in Goldfinger. We've spent 4 films building up Blofeld, and when we finally reveal him, first of all, the reveal is like a peekaboo. We're like, he looks out like this is how we finally reveal his face, is something is obstructing him, and he leans out like this.
That's so weird.
And he has no presence, and he has no menace.
Would it be more dramatic if he moved something?
Maybe.
Or would that also be silly?
I'm
standing behind this plant.
He has no presence. He's not sinister.
That's good.
Yeah, like it's a bummer. And the next movie, which you do have to watch, that is one you have to watch. Unmatched Secret Service,
duly noted,
which has the best Blofeld, who's played by Telly Savalas. It's like an immediate. Now, all of this being said, still not the worst Blofeld, because there is a Blofeld in Diamonds Are Forever, and he's the worst. But like, I don't know why we think James Bond needs Blofeld. We spent 4 movies building him up. He has no presence. And the next film, where he's great, is the one that for a long time people didn't like. Because it's the one movie with George Lazenby.
So is the only reason we can't get away from it because it's just a name people know?
It must be. I mean, and the iconography stuck, but I don't know why. There's nothing about him that's interesting.
Does he do more than novels?
Yes. So... Here's the thing. We did a weird thing where we mixed... So there's a Blofeld trilogy. There are 3 novels that use Blofeld. Thunderball, Unmatched Secret Service, and You Only Live Twice. You Only Live Twice is the 3rd of those. And it's the conclusion of kind of an arc. And this movie doesn't have Unmatched Secret Service, which when you see next time, you'll see that movie leaves in a very specific place that this is supposed to pick up on, and we don't do that. And so it's weird. It's weird to choose now for it to be him. It's weird to do this movie before Unmatched Secret Service. And it's also the first film that has almost nothing to do with the book. Roald Dahl said the book is not a story. He's like, I don't know how you would make this. I don't know if I fully agree with that, but I know he's talking about. It's kind of a lot of people describe it as a travelogue. Ian Fleming went to Japan and then wrote a book about Japan, and then kind of put a James Bond plot in it. But it's amazing, and I'm still waiting for it to come to screen. Blofeld sets up, under the name of Dr. Shatterhand, which is the coolest bad guy name. Under the name of Dr. Shatterhand, Blofeld sets up a place where people... It's a suicide garden where people can come and commit suicide, and he lures them in to kill themselves. And the final confrontation is in this garden, and, like, Blofeld's decked out in, like, samurai gear, and him and Bond are strangling each other to death. It's great! Never been done in the movie. I don't know why.
How would you not put that in that movie?
How would you not put that? Especially in this movie. It's so big.
Yeah.
Is
that not in Japan?
It is in Japan. So
alright.
We keep that it's in Japan.
Well, there's no reason not to do that.
There's no reason not to do that. How do you not have Blofeld in samurai armor? Also, there's a character in the next movie named Irma Blunt. No, Irma Blunt's the one from... Irma Blunt is the one from Rush with Love. It's late. From Rush with Love. I think he has a woman servant that's in the next movie. That's also in the book for this. But so they keep the location and they keep the names. You couldn't keep the melancholy nature of the book because we don't have On Her Majesty's Secret Service in between these stories. So like you would have had to contrive a completely different starting place, but that's not hard because these movies have lost all the substance from the books.
Yeah.
Like it could have just been an adventure. So we just kind of keep some names of characters. So the big, because I remember this movie being crazier and more fun, and it's maybe I was just in the wrong mindset or mood, but like, so this movie does a thing that's insane, which is they make James Bond Japanese. They want him to blend in, which is in the book, but not exactly the way it is here. And it's more just like so you can blend into crowds. Like, we're going to cut your hair so that, like, if they're not paying attention, they won't notice. They won't notice a white man here. Here, they cut his hair.
This is like Kirk going full,
and his eyebrows,
full Romulan or something.
And they paint him brown. Actually, he looks like a Romulan. That's exactly what he looks like.
That's funny.
Because he's got the eyebrows like this, and they, like, pull his eyes... It's super not okay. I don't know. I don't believe we ever did this. Like, I don't think anyone ever tried this to infiltrate another country. Like,
it wouldn't work.
No, he looks terrible. He just looks like James Bond.
Well, right away, the first thing someone would think is, oh, you look like one of those American actors pretending to be Japanese.
Yeah. But so...
Did you walk off a racist set?
Yeah, that's exactly what it looks like. I believe, I could be wrong, I believe as far as the mainstream media, cinema going audiences, I believe this is the first use of ninjas in the general public consciousness, not from a Japanese film.
Yeah,
there are ninjas in this. They're dressed in gray instead of black, but it is the like stereotypical like traditional ninja outfit. Even that's not cool. Because they just come in like commandos, and my least favorite James Bond endings, because there's like 3 James Bond endings, but my least favorite of them is when James Bond is barely doing anything and commandos rush in and save the day. That kind of happens at the end of Thunderball. Like, I don't like it there either. Like, I just...
Oh, yeah. It ends up just... That's a Deus Ex Machina, but it's just a bunch of people.
But at least James Bond kind of like meets up with the bad guy. This is... He's just there. Like, James Bond doesn't have to do anything in this movie. It does end on a sex boat. We do get back to the sex boat. That is a thing. It's not great. The last thing I want to talk about...
in Japan. Did they come from the sex hotel to the sex boat?
Yes. James Bond kind of gets married in this. He pretends to get married to a Japanese woman, and that's all very strange. I don't know. It's weird. I feel like the book is far more sensitive to the Japanese culture than this movie. Like, the book feels like someone that went there was fascinated by the culture.
Yeah.
This feels like dumb, stupid Americans interpreting Japanese culture.
Yeah, Japan's this weird alien planet.
Yeah.
Aren't they strange?
And this is the movie where you get the line, in Japan, men come first and women come second.
Wow.
That comes from this.
I didn't know about that.
It might be specifically about the bath because he's getting bathed.
Oh, okay.
And I do love that that they're bathing him, and the guy Taka he's like, you wouldn't have any Western women do this. He's like, yeah, I don't know, I can think of a few. I guess this isn't so weird. But I want to talk about the title and why it's dumb. So the title is You Only Live Twice, which has a significance metaphorically to the novel because James Bond feels dead at the beginning. But more importantly, he makes a haiku, which is, you only live twice, once when you're born, once when you die. That's his haiku. Which is very nihilistic. But like, it's a whole thing. In this, they use it twice, kind of. So it's, we use the title "You Only Live Twice" because at the beginning of this movie, we have a big shot of like a spaceship eating a smaller spaceship, and like that's like a 5-minute sequence, and then we cut to James Bond, who's in bed with this Chinese woman, and I don't know whether she's evil or not. What I know is, she puts James Bond's in the bed. She pushes the bed up. And then some soldier guys come in, they're like, kill James Bond! And they shoot through the bed. And then they pull the bed down, they're like, James Bond is dead. And like, there's some blood there. It's very strange.
Didn't we have that question a couple movies ago, where it starts with a woman he's in bed with, and we're not sure if she's bad or not?
Maybe. Yes, that sounds familiar.
I'm pretty sure we had that in one.
Yeah.
The one before Thunderball.
But this one, that's
Goldfinger.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it was there.
But this one, like, I don't know, because she doesn't come, she's not in anything else in the movie, I don't know if she's evil or not. So they, like, mobsters, like, shoot James Bond, and they tell everyone he's dead. And so, he's living twice? It's kind of implied, yeah, he fakes his death. It's kind of implied that, like, they're almost dealing with the thing everyone makes fun of, that, like, he runs around and introduces himself as James Bond, and, like, how is that being a spy, right? Which, by the way, he doesn't do in the book. He has code names. Like, that is a 100% movie thing.
Oh, yeah. I never thought of that. How are you a spy if you just...
You always introduce yourself as James
name.
Bond.
It'd be cool if you found out that wasn't his name.
So it's... Yeah. Well, and there's a theory that doesn't work, but there is a fan theory that all of the James Bond films are not the same person. They are actually different people, and they just keep moving the code name. There's a reason that can't be, but it's a fun fan theory.
Oh, okay.
And the reason it can't be is the next movie. And
okay.
You'll get there. You'll see it when we get there. But so, he fakes his death. Essentially, it's the 11th Doctor thing of, like, he's gotten too big and he needs to go into hiding. So, like, they fake his death, even though people aren't supposed to know he exists because he's a spy. But, like, he's gotten too big and, like, he needs to go underground. And so they fake his death, and so he gets to live twice. But then later, when he meets Blofeld says something about, like, I thought you were dead, and James Bond is like, quip or whatever, and then Blofeld just goes, well, you only get to live twice. Like, I'm gonna kill you now? Like, it's... They just needed to make that... They didn't know how to make that title work.
To make that title matter?
Yeah. So...
If you didn't pick up on one, maybe you'll pick up on this one.
Of the initial 5, Dr. No, For Martial Love, Goldfinger, Thunderball, 5.
Yeah.
It's 5. Okay. Of the initial 5 Sean Connery films, this is my least favorite. I will put this at the bottom of that list. It's not unwatchable, but it's my least favorite. It is time for him to leave. Is really how...
Did you remember that going in, or were you like, oh yeah, that's right, this is not that good?
I always remember this kind of being more middle. Like, if I had to rank just the Connery ones, it's For Martial with Love, Probably Goldfinger. This is the best viewing I've had of Goldfinger, Thunderball, Dr. No than this. It's just... It's the worst of them. It's not his worst movie, because Diamonds Are Forever is my least favorite James Bond movie, period, end of sentence. It's awful.
Are you going to maybe watch that one?
No, I wouldn't. It commits the greatest sin that any James Bond movie can commit, which is it's boring.
Yeah.
That's the cardinal sin. There are probably objectively worse films, Moonraker and Die Another Day. They're not boring.
Yeah.
This Diamonds Are Forever is boring and bad and a terrible follow-up to On Her Majesty's Secret Service. So, yeah, like, if you're watching the James Bond movies, you have to watch this. It's important. This is where you get Blofeld for the first time, which will actually be retconned in the next movie because for that story to work, they can't have seen each other before.
So how important is it then?
It's historically important.
Sure.
This is the first time you get to see Blofeld. I mean, of them, I guess you could skip this. You could just skip to On Her Majesty's Secret Service. It is the one you have to watch if you want to know where Austin Powers comes from.
Sure.
But it's historically important. It's not great. I'm not a fan. I'm not a big fan of this film. So, yeah.
Interesting. I think it was really funny because that was one that you originally said I had to watch, and then you sent me a message today, and you were like, "Have you watched that yet?" No. Yeah, don't worry about it.
Yeah, just because, like...
Don't bother with that one.
I guess you could have just watched the... The only thing you need to see it for, historical context-wise, is Blofeld. That's it. You don't need to watch the whole movie.
I know I've seen those scenes before. Like, I know what that looks like.
Yeah, then you don't need to... He's such a letdown. 3 films of build-up. Like, it's just...
Or maybe it's I mean, does he still have a cat in the next one? Do they keep that?
No. I'm pretty sure they dropped the cat after this movie. I don't think he has it in On Her Majesty's Secret Service. I mean, this is full-on Doctor.
That means I've definitely seen it.
It's also the only film where he has the scar on his face.
Okay, because I know I've seen one where he's got the cat. So, yeah.
I have this whole thing with Blofeld and the cat. Where, like, so the cat just sits there and just pets it, right?
Yeah.
Here's the thing. Cats don't start that way, which means that this evil criminal mastermind had to get a kitten that was, like biting him and, like, not listening and get it to the state where he can just... Nobody thinks about that with animals, but you don't just get a cat like that. Like,
but see, that tells you something about him, you know? That makes him really hardcore.
That's true. But yeah, so that was... I think that is one that's, like, kind of split, where, like, some people are like, I really like it, it's really fun, and other people are like, it's not the best one. I'm in the camp of that's not the best one.
So, next time, a major one.
Next time, On My Secret Service, which at the time was maligned, people hated. Part of it was just because it's not Sean Connery anymore, but completely reevaluated in the past 10, 15 years. Most people consider it to be one of the best James Bond films. I consider it the best James Bond film with the worst James Bond. So we'll
interesting.
And I'm always like, I don't know how that evens out, but I think it's the best movie with the worst Bond. So
well, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah.
Well, folks, thanks a lot for watching. Sure appreciate it. We are almost done with reviews on the Omnibus this week. Next up, Eric and I are each going to talk about an unmade film script.
Yeah.
Which is going to be really interesting. So Eric and I both on the next read, or We're All Gonna Die. And in the meantime, I am Captain Logan.
And I'm Eric.
Thanks for watching, folks.